Our third and final 5-minute speed talk is from Alana Den Breeÿen, and it will be about augmentative releases of the Pompom with rust fungus, a biological control agent of Puccinia macrocephalum in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're noting down your questions, because we'll be taking questions after this talk. Over to you.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about using a classical biocontrol agent as an augmentative release pathogen. So we all know pompom weed. It's really beautiful, but actually very ugly. Introduced into South Africa in the 1960s. I'm kind of standing on tiptoes. 1960s, and has subsequently spread throughout its range and invades grasslands and savannas and is highly damaging. In 2006, the pompom rust fungus was identified in the Pretoria area, Puccinia eupatorii, and it is very damaging, but it had got a lot of, not bad press, but kind of blah press, that it's only a minor pathogen and that it doesn't have the potential to actually control pompom weed in South Africa. And the result of this supposed limited effectiveness is, its limited effectiveness is that there is a lag phase between when the pompom plant emerges, which is just after the first summer rains in November, and the rust fungus emergence time, which is from late January, February. And by that time, the plant is already senescing. It has set seed when the fungus is actually reaching epidemic levels. So what we wanted to do, or what I wanted to do, was look at whether, if we could put the fungus into the field in November already, whether it would have an impact on the plant. This is very initial. It's only been a first season. I started the first augmentative inoculations in November 2013. I had 2 sites, one in Mpumalanga and one in Gauteng, and you can see the outlay. I brew my own little cocaine in the packages. It's a 1 to 200 spores to talc mix, and that you just spread onto the little plot and water it, and you can see just sieve it on. It's very, very simple. And basically, each plot was inoculated once during the season. There was an all plot which was inoculated 3 or 4 times, and then because you cannot exclude the fungus, I tried really hard to exclude the fungus from the plants because it is ubiquitous and everywhere. We then used natural infection as a control. Okay, so don't get a fright when you see the graph. So on the primary axis, it's disease incidence, which is the number of infected plants per plot. On the secondary axis is plant density, which is the number of plants per meter square. At the y-axis is the assessment date, and what we are monitoring is the time of inoculation. And what you can see, and this is the Barberton site, and of course, as with all research and biocontrol, the data for Barberton is different for Gauteng. So natural infection, the disease incidence was higher at the first assessment date compared to the other treatments, and by the final assessment, there was basically very little difference between the treatments, although the treatment we did, or the inoculation we did in January, had very high disease incidence, and it will be interesting to see, but by the time, by February, when we did the assessment, the plants had already died back. And as you can see, plant density decreased, but there was no differences between treatments at the end, at the final assessment. In terms of the Rietvlei site, there we got a decrease in the lag phase, and you can see there's some stars, and that's due to researcher default. Anyway, so the initial infection disease incidence was really low for the natural infection compared to your treatments, but by the end of the season, and it was a longer season at Rietvlei, so we had an additional month of infection at the Rietvlei site. Again, there was no differences between the